Hey, teacher friends, Antoine here, and welcome back to the Teacher Support Network podcast. So, with the start of the school year and you trying to get into a rhythm, it can really feel like pure teacher madness and chaos a lot of the time. I mean, you have new students to get to know, new routines to kind of put in place, IEP meetings to go to or to prepare for, lesson planning, grading. It can all pile up pretty quickly. But here's the truth. You don't have to do everything the hard way. A few simple systems can save you time, energy, and even some sanity. And not just now where you're at, but wherever you're at in the school year. So today on this episode, I'm going to be sharing 5 time-saving systems for teachers. And so let's first talk about the first time-saving system for teachers. I call it the weekly planning block. So with this, you would set aside one consistent time for the big rocks you have to tackle each week. That could be lesson planning, grading, even IEP writing if you're a special ed teacher. And maybe that's on a Friday afternoon or during one of your prep periods or blocks. When you batch these similar tasks together in a weekly block, you can stop scrambling every day and free up mental space. Now, I know you may be thinking, I don't have that time to do it. But if you sit back and really try to look at your schedule and try to implement this kind of system, you will see the benefits of it long term. And so here's kind of like a little pro tip. Use a simple lesson plan template that you can repeat and have over and over again. Maybe it's having an IEP planning worksheet or folder where you have all your information so nothing sneaks up on you and you can get to it easily without wasting time trying to find everything when you need it. I know for me, that was helpful. I would have a sheet that had all the information I needed to start writing my IEP, and I had some of the documentation in a working file. And so when I sat down, I could really sit and focus on what I needed to do rather than having to get information other places. So that's just an example, but in the long run, it really helped save time for me and just made my life a lot simpler. So let's talk about system number 2, time-saving system number 2. I call it the student jobs that save you time. So listen, basically stop doing everything yourself if you're one of those teachers who like to do things yourself. I would like to have you invite your students into the process by having built-in classroom jobs that they can do. Maybe they're a student who passes out the papers. Maybe you have a tech helper who helps with some of the tech in the class, especially because a lot of us are using computers and different types of technology. You can have a supply manager, even a messenger that delivers and brings things back and forth from the front office or goes from class to class if you have to go between classes or you need to talk to another teacher or give information to another teacher. Not only does it save you time, but it builds responsibility and ownership for students. And to me, that's a double win. So whatever those jobs or whatever those things are, you get to determine, but invite your classroom into it. And it really helps create a classroom community. And you can always switch it up every few weeks or every term or every quarter, depending on how you do it in your school system. So time-saving system number 3 for teachers, and I call this one the quick communication channels. Confusion can really eat up time. So decide up front how you're going to communicate with your co-teacher or teaching partner, your paraprofessional or other support staff. And that could really look like one, for example, you could have a shared Google Drive folder with a Google Doc for lesson plans and notes. You can have something in it that has student updates. And you can also share resources within that folder. Another example could be have a Microsoft Teams or a Google Chat thread for daily check-ins. So just little quick check-ins to see how things are going. And then have regular meetings scheduled on a shared calendar. So if you're using Google in your school or you're using Outlook or whatever platform you're using, having shared meetings scheduled on a calendar means that no one will forget when you have the actual meetings, because clarity up front can really save time and hours of backtracking later. And sometimes we don't see it up front, but over the long haul and over the months and throughout the school year, these things really help. So have those quick communication channels, and how are you going to do them efficiently with your team? So time-saving system number 4 for teachers, I call this the batch prepping of materials. So instead of copying papers or prepping materials every day for your classes, and sometimes we need to do it that way, but if you can, try to batch them and get ahead if possible. And make 1 to 2 weeks of copies at once. And I know that's not always possible, but if you can get ahead, it can save you so much time to invest in other important priorities you have as a teacher. So I'll just give an example. When I was a special ed teacher, there was a year when and this was when I was in a high school, I had an instructional assistant who would help me in some of my classes, but then I would not see him throughout the rest of the day because the school was using them for other classes and other responsibilities. And so I would often stay a little bit late one day, usually on a Friday, and I would prep the copies that I needed for the upcoming week and leave it in his mailbox with instructions on a sticky note that said something like maybe I'm going to need this for Wednesday on this date, and I'm going to need 35 copies of it. Just an example, right? But I would do that all for the next week. And I would do that before I left for the evening for the weekend. So one, it felt good for me to just kind of get that out of me. But also, this was the arrangement that we had, and it works for us. Now, this might not work for you. I'm just giving you my example. But this is how we were able to have a quick communication system, but it's also how we were able to do this during times when our schedules didn't always intercept well, because we were working in a busy high school. And I would put the days I needed for the workshops and items like that, like I said, and when I needed to have the copies. And he could do that on his free time and get it back to me. And like I said, I would just take it and I would put it in his mailbox. And when he would come the next week, he would see it. And so that was really helpful, but it also was able for me to just get a week ahead of my schedule for my lesson planning and not have to worry about the materials being prepped. Materials being needing to be copied because I had him to do it for me and I thought about it a week ahead of time. So whatever works for you, but think about batching and prepping your materials early so you don't have to worry about it. And here's an extra time saver with this system. Always make a few extra spare copies of worksheets, quizzes, or homework. And then store them in a labeled folder or a bin in your classroom. That way, if a student is absent or loses a paper or worksheet, which is inevitable, then they can grab it themselves, or your co-teacher or support staff can get it for them without you having to scramble mid-lesson to get materials for a student, and you can focus on your teaching. And that leads me to time-saving system number 5 for teachers, and I call it the teacher shutdown ritual. So with this is basically think about how you want to end your day, and what's going to work for you so you can leave school at school and then you can go home and be present at home. So I suggest create a 5 to 10 minute end of day shutdown system. That could be like clearing your desk, responding to that last email, then shutting down your laptop. And then before you leave, write down tomorrow's top 3 priorities and then leave school at school. Protecting your energy is just as important as protecting your time. And how you leave each day can really determine how you enter the next day. And the more organized you can get the day before, the more at peace you can feel leaving and transitioning into your life at home with your family and just the other responsibilities you have as a person. So here's my challenge for you, teacher friend. I want you to reflect on this question. Which part of your day feels the most overwhelming right now? So really think about that. Which part of your day feels the most overwhelming? And then here's something I want you to take action on. From the 5 systems we talked about today, which one could make the biggest difference for you if you put it into practice this week, right now where you're at in your teaching for the school year? And here's the thing, don't try to do them all at once. I gave you 5 and I'll be, in other episodes kind of going deeper into some of these. But don't try to do them all at once. Just pick one, the one that's going to have the most impact for you right now. And then build that habit this week. Then carry it into the month ahead and watch how it frees you up in your time and your energy. And just see how you just feel after implementing a new habit or a new system if you don't already have it as part of your routine. And here's a bonus time-saving system for meetings. One of the biggest drains on teachers is having or walking into meetings with your colleagues or team without a plan. And so that's why I created my collaborative meeting templates pack. It's filled with ready-to-use agendas, topic and question prompts, an action step planner, so you can stay focused and productive with your co-teachers, your para, your support staff, or whatever you call it in your school or district, without wasting time. So I'm going to drop that link in the resource section of our show notes. But that's it for now. Until next time, keep showing up, be encouraged, and keep planting those seeds. You're doing better than you know. Bye for now.